Welcome back, guys, to episode number 70 of the Sweet Science podcast with your boy Fat Mouse. Who else we got in here?
I'm Cash with a K, not a C.
Fantastic. Good to be here. Welcome back, everybody.
Yep.
I hope you're doing great. Some people not so much. British boxers, mainly. But this is how things go.
How do they go?
How do they go? You win some, you lose some, son. Do you know what I mean? That's what I've been told anyway.
You know, before we get into it, just a quick one. I want to say, North London forever.
I knew that was coming, so I just stayed quiet and just braced myself.
How did that sound? That sound good?
It was amazing, blood. It was amazing.
2-2 draw at the Emirates. Arsenal, Tottenham, North London derby. Exhilarating game. Probably should have got the win. Not probably. We should have got the win. But, you know, it was disappointing. I can't really say much about it. It was first half, first 40 minutes, thought we played fantastically. Is that even a word? And, dominated. Tottenham sort of crept back into it. Got that goal just before half-time. And, we came up firing again second half. Saka scored a penalty. But then we switched off. Jorginho came on for Rice, which was a big miss. Rice came off injured. Apparently there was some problem with his back. Come off. Jorginho came on. Don't know why he dwelled on the ball too long. Taking too long, scanning around. And then I think Maddison stole it, played in Son. And they scored literally within like 30 seconds of us scoring.
Yep.
And yeah, it kind of fizzled out. Last 10 minutes we picked it up again, but we just couldn't get that goal. We need a killer. We just need a striker. We need that killer instinct up top. Eddie Nketiah was disappointed again today, disappeared. Jesus, I love him, quality player, but he just lacks that killer instinct. And I think, if anything, we need to go for Ivan Toney. Get Ivan Toney in January once his ban's over, and let's see what he can do towards the last end of the season. Betting.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he had like over 300 charges of betting.
Bad man.
He said.
Where did you play? Was it in Arsenal?
Yeah, it was at the Emirates, at Arsenal, at home.
Lovely.
So,
at home.
Yeah, man. Let's get in Ivan Toney. Bring Ivan Toney to the carpet. And I think Arsenal can push on. I think he's the last piece of the jigsaw. Alan Smith said it at pitchside. He said, from what I can see, everything sort of is in place now. They just need that striker, that killer instinct up top to finish off the game, because we could have killed the game in the first half. But that's that. Those are my thoughts.
North London forever. I love a bit of football, me. Either side, goal to goal. I love all
Goal
that.
to goal.
Goal to goal is my thing.
Oh no,
It's a lot of fun.
I heard you were a baller back in the day.
World Cup. You know, you play World Cup with one goal. I can't remember the rules. I don't remember what happens, but you just got to score to go through.
Yeah, you just qualify to the next round until everyone's out, and then you end up in the
the
final.
winner.
You could do World Cup doubles as well. I don't know if you ever did that.
I think that's all we ever did.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't do it by myself.
Why? You were too good.
Yeah.
To be honest, you should have just been blindfolded.
I
You
was
were
like
that good.
Brazil, but in their heyday. Firmino and Ronaldinho.
Ronaldinho.
Yeah, man.
Who's your favourite footballer of all time, if you've got one? Just
Huh?
random question.
The name, because I don't know anything about football. So anytime anyone sits and talks about football and I zone out and I feel like I really want to get involved in the conversation, I just say they should have passed it to Trezeguet. So by that logic, I don't even know what he looks like, blood.
To be
I don't even know
honest,
what he looks
it's actually
like.
a good shout, because he's a very good player.
Pretty good, isn't it?
He's a
Well,
very
that's probably why he's in my
player.
mind, isn't it?
Arsenal could do with either Trezeguet right now.
Yep. Trezeguet.
So yeah, from North London to East London.
Northwest London.
What? Where was it?
Wembley.
Oh, was that the Wembley Arena? I don't know why I kept thinking it was at the Copper Box.
No, sir.
Yeah, so we travel from one part of London to another part of London, and we had the rematch. We had ZHILEI ZHANG return to London to take on Joyce.
Konnichiwa, bitches. That's Japanese.
Yeah.
That's why it's funny. He's Chinese. I'm amazing.
Where did that even come from?
Just wanted to say,
Fair enough.
Hello, my name is ZHILEI ZHANG.
Where's this going? Yeah, Wei Lee.
Yeah, wait, no, not yeah. I'm talking about the
the Korean
female
fighter.
fighter. She's not Korean. We are, without meaning to be. All right. Anyway,
let's start again.
ZHILEI ZHANG.
Let's start the whole episode again.
Welcome back, guys.
Welcome back. Yeah. So, from one part of London to another part of London, we had ZHILEI ZHANG come back to London, return to take on Joyce in the second fight.
Yep.
Rematch. He put on a clinic in the first one, dominated Joyce, eventually stopped him. I think it was in the fifth round. Fifth or sixth. No, in the first fight.
in the first fight. I was thinking, what are you on about? I can't remember now.
And then, yeah.
Fifth, I think it was the sixth.
Yeah. And then
wrong?
I'll double check that. And then the second one.
I'll do it while you talk.
There was a lot riding on Joyce. There was a lot riding on this for him, for his career. You know, a lot of people said this could be make or break for him. You know, he's not the youngest. He's not a spring chicken anymore. You know, I think he's sort of late 30s.
38.
Yeah, 38 years old. And it was kind of do or die, now or never for Joyce. Hats off to him because he took the risk in the first place, taking on a dangerous man who not many had known of.
A dangerous man, exactly, but a dangerous man, but nobody had heard of him. So maybe that danger wasn't in his mind. He actually probably thought this is an easy fight. I'm still trying to find out.
No, I don't think he thought it was an easy fight. I think he knew it was difficult, but obviously the momentum he was on,
yeah.
You know, the talk of Tyson Fury and Usyk and him being involved in the conversation maybe played on his mind a little bit. And Zhang came in and has absolutely not thrown a spanner in the works. He has literally thrown the whole toolbox in the works.
6th round stoppage. Sorry, it took me a very long time to get there, but I got there in the end.
Well, we got there actually.
6th round stoppage in the first one, just to clarify for the latecomers.
And it was just it was hard to watch because from round one, I think halfway through round one, I kind of figured out that this is going to be a long night, and I don't think he's made the right adjustments. And I just don't think he's got the ability to beat someone like Zhang.
I don't think he does either. Yeah.
We always say it, styles make fights, and that straight left didn't miss in the first fight. And within the end of the first round, he found his range, and that straight left was landing consistently. Joyce was trying to move away from him, you know, trying to get away from the southpaw, circling to his left. But even then, I think this has been a recurring theme, you know, on the past couple of pods that we've done. But this PTSD, this trauma of being hurt, being stopped, having your eye popped or whatever it is, coming back to haunt you in the next fight. And I saw a similar thing. Not saying that he gave up, not saying that he quit, but when he was hurt,
he was rightfully cautious, though.
No, he was cautious, but every time he was hurt, he shelled up a lot. It's not a bad thing.
Exactly.
But I just think he was probably thinking, damn, this guy.
He went from the juggernaut,
being
the juggernaut, because like he says, everybody's got a plan until they punch me in the face and nothing happens. Yeah. And a lot happened this time. In the first meeting, his eye just exploded, basically. And in the second one, he just got beaten up. Like you said, Cash, he made adjustments, far too few, and absolutely just not enough. He came in, 2 stone heavier than he came in the first fight? He came in light in the first fight.
I heard he was at, I think it was at 25 pounds or something. I can't remember exactly.
That is
over 20 pounds.
Yeah. So that's almost 2 stones, I believe. I think 12 pounds is a stone. I don't know, man. But either way, he came in heavier, and that didn't help him. In fact, it seemed detrimental. But weight, whatever in it, that's one factor. That is not the deciding factor. Age is not the deciding factor. I think the skill parity, the skill discrepancy was the factor. You get me?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't say that he's not been tested chin-wise, because we know he has been, even with Dubois, who he beat, but he's known to be a very heavy puncher. For example, like, you know, he took all of his punches. I don't know what happened in the first fight. If the first fight meant that he realized he was not invincible, and then he went into the second fight thinking, okay, I'll make the change, I'll just come heavier. Heavier meant slower. Again, that amount of weight increase wasn't in line with the amount of skill increase. He, just like you said, he was circling to the left. That was all he did to make changes. I think he tried a 𝗕𝗺𝗄𝗓 here and there. That didn't work for him. He's too big, clunky, and cumbersome for that to have been effective for him. He's notoriously slow. He seemed even slower. First round, I would say it was closer than even maybe you might have said. It was close. Yeah, okay, but it's a feel-out round anyway.
It was a close round.
You never really judge the fight by the first round. Now Frank Warren was like, yeah, he did brilliantly until he got caught. He didn't. You can't lie to us because our eyes saw what we saw, and we saw what happened. First round was the first round, and then the second round, he was almost out. He was out, on his legs. He was gone. But the round ended. He stumbled back to his corner and kind of, tried to shake it off and get back in there. And ultimately, it wasn't enough. He got bammed. It's the first time he'd ever seen the canvas, essentially. He'd ever touched the deck, hit the deck rather. First time he'd been knocked down and first time he'd been knocked out in the pro ranks. 16, 17 fights in total. 16?
I think so.
16, 17 fights. So it's not much. It's not like he's had a long, illustrious pro career. And yes, he's progressed quickly. But he has not got the minerals. If your nickname is the Juggernaut and you're blessed with the ability to take a punch and you don't have that ability and you crumble in the third round against somebody who, people overlooked, at least in the first meeting, then you shouldn't even be called a Juggernaut. Just be called Joe and the Juice. Joe Joyce. Because that nickname came from what we saw as your ability to take licks and just keep coming forward. I think what Cash said was very, very valid. He got hit and he fell back, he would fall back. Like the punches that landed really affected him. Maybe mentally more so than physically. But either way, that was just not it. That was not it. I think he is getting on in age. Obviously, he's 38 years old. Again, I'm just echoing Cash, but I'm building up to something. He has done well. He was on a nice little trajectory, and then, encountered that skid in the first encounter with this gentleman, ZHILEI ZHANG. But the second one cemented it. And now it's like, where do you go? Where'd you go? This guy's got your number. And as a result, most other heavyweights probably have your number because they know now that you're not as invincible as they once thought. So just put some pressure on you. And if they put pressure on the person who they thought pressure didn't crack, but he did crack, or he does crack, they'll just put the pressure on. You've got somebody like Wilder, annihilate you. AJ would be a good fight, but essentially AJ, again, the skills differential, even though AJ's not the most skilled heavyweight, it's a tough one for him as well. Tyson Fury wipes the floor with pretty much anybody. And I don't like saying that because he's no longer the ambassador that I wanted him to be, for heavyweight boxing. Mm-hmm. Where does he go? What happens to him? Where does he just put his feet up and say, I gave it my best shot, but I'm done. I'm going to protect myself because I'm a shell of my former self. I hate these terms and these expressions, but that's what he is.
I think that's harsh. I think it's a bit harsh. But I understand where you're coming from because you've got to be realistic with where you can go now. You're at that age. And he's at that age now. He's 38. And, they kind of fast-tracked him anyway because he got into the pro ranks late.
Yeah.
He came from, the Olympic setup, good amateur career, very well known, had a good following, and started off good. But again, I think where he goes from here now it's difficult to say. I was thinking about it before we set up, and I was like, the only valid thing I can see for him to do now, or the most realistic option right now for him could possibly be a Daniel Dubois rematch. They're both sort of in limbo because Dubois' stock grew in that Usyk defeat. He did better than a lot of people expected, and possibly could have walked away with the belts. In some people's eyes, should be the champion right now. I don't see Dubois getting that rematch, to be honest. If he does, then obviously he goes with that. If he doesn't, then I think he should call out Joe Joyce. I think he should try and avenge that defeat, because it's probably the best time to catch Joe Joyce now. Stopped twice in a row. First one, obviously, the eye, people said it could have played a factor. When I was watching it live, I kind of...
it played a factor. A strong puncher punched him in it.
No. What I'm saying is, like, a lot of people were thinking that if it didn't, his eye didn't sort of swell up and close up as much, he would have won. I didn't see that happening, but, if you're playing devil's advocate, you could say that. So, the rematch was the valid thing to do, and he was completely outclassed, and he just showed... Like you said, the levels, the disparity there was clear to see from round one, really and truly. Zhang just picked up where he left off. Yeah,
literally. And he did it in a more...
emphatic fashion.
Yeah, he did it more handedly.
The confidence that Zhang had from the first fight was through the roof. It kind of seeped into him in the second fight, and you could see, as soon as the cobwebs were off in the first minute or two, he got comfortable, he started to walk down Joe Joyce. No one does that. Not a lot of people can do that because he is the juggernaut. And when you've got someone on the other side like Joyce who can hit hard, he bangs hard, and he's strong, he's durable, he's a nightmare for a lot of people. Zhang broke down those defenses, and it was, like you said, it was the pressure. But I don't think a lot of heavyweights could do that. They need to be able to really crack, because I don't think his chin is deteriorated. I don't think it's he's broken, because he did still take a lot of shots in that fight, and Zhang hits hard. Zhang is a big monster. And even with that right hook that put him down, it was a beautiful left hand followed by a short right hook, went down. He still managed to get up. He got up at 9 and a bit, 10. People would have been asleep from that. A lot of people would have just been out cold.
I'll give you that.
A lot of the heavyweights.
I'll give you that.
So, I rate him for getting up. He tried, but, he was in no condition to continue. And Zhang walked away with a third round knockout victory. It was just easy for Zhang. It just looked he looked calm in there. He didn't even look like he hit second gear. And I think he's going to cause a lot of problems for the heavyweights out there if they fight him. Because he's technically very good. Very, very good. He's been in the amateur game for a long time. He's a silver medalist in the Olympics. He fought Anthony Joshua in the 2012 Olympics. Joshua beat him. He's called for that fight. He's called for Usyk. Of course, he wants Tyson Fury. Him and Fury were very close to happening before the Joe Joyce fight got announced. That was on the table for him. He was ready to take it. And then obviously Ngannou came out of nowhere, and sort of that.
Money talks, baby.
Money talks. But Zhang will be a serious player. If these guys avoid him, then, he's just going to continue doing what he does and fighting the second tier of heavyweights. But I think he causes a lot of problems for a lot of these guys and potentially beats them.
You said it was very easy for him, right? And his trainer said something which I thought was nuts, and I believe it was before the fight he said it. I can't remember who it was to, but it was an interviewer, and he says, he was asked, are you worried about Joe Joyce now that he can, he's had time to make adjustments, whatever? He goes, no, we're not worried. We know what Joe Joyce is going to do even before Joe himself knows. And that's exactly what it seemed like in the ring. They must think they must have expected him to try what he tried, and he didn't try much. Yes, there was an effort there. I think the major struggle, and this is actually more worrying than anything else, than any of these other shortfalls, is that he struggles with a southpaw. Every time, so in both fights, he's put it down partly to dealing with a southpaw and him finding it difficult. So you've exposed something there, and that is that you can't deal with the southpaw, which is obviously not 50% of boxers, but 50% in terms of how, you're either right-handed or left-handed. There's a 1 in 2 chance of you being a left-hander. But yeah, this is ZHILEI ZHANG now. He is a big problem. He is 40, so he also has a big problem. His age is going to be a factor because how many years has he got left in his career? We don't know. He could probably go on for another 2-3 years quite comfortably. He's not particularly fast or quick. He's slow, he's methodical, and he almost moves like a wise master, you know, like a kung fu master, like in the sense that how calm and slow he does things, but it's just like I know what I'm doing. It's
not even slow, it's just at his own pace.
It's at his own pace. Thank you.
Yeah, it's at his own pace. Because
he controlled that pace.
Yeah. He moves around slowly, but he's educated. He knows where he wants to be. He knows what he's doing. His hands aren't that slow as well. When that left hand comes up, pop, pop.
Fair.
And again, because he hits so hard, and you know, if you constantly know, I mean, you know, if you're getting hit by that for 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds, doesn't matter who you are. You could be the juggernaut, or you could be just naught.
That's a better one than mine.
It doesn't matter. You're eventually, if you don't go down, something's gonna give.
Yeah.
Whether it's your orbital bone, your nose, you know, something's gonna break.
It's a tough one.
And this time, Joyce's will was broken, and he got caught with a left hook right on the chin. And he went down, and you know, it was sad to see because there was a lot of, you know, hope that he could turn this around. You know, that maybe the first one was a blip, maybe Joyce is the man. But you've got to remember, in it, putting favoritism aside, and you know, put your love and your fandom to one side. You've got to remember, you know, not every fighter that we like or every fighter that we support or watch or know is elite. You know, styles make fights, and Joyce will dominate a lot of other fighters. Give me, you know, 6, 7 other heavyweights in the top 10. He could probably beat most of them. But when it comes to the top, you know, if we're talking top 3, top 4, top 5, he's either going to lose or he's going to struggle. And Zhang was a prime example of someone who hits hard, who's a southpaw, so it's a style you're not very used to or good at dealing with, and then someone who's, if not more accomplished in the amateur ranks, just as, you know. And it was, you know, he met his match, and you know, there's no shame in that. You know, everyone wants to try and be undefeated. Everyone wants to try and stay, you know, the best fighter in the world. But this is what makes the heavyweight division so interesting, is that you get guys that come out of nowhere who can cause major headaches, you know, to the promoters and the TV channels and the broadcasters. Because, you know, in the ideal world, everyone wants to see 2 undefeated guys go at it from 2 different promoters who put on a massive show. But then you've got guys like ZHILEI ZHANG who come out of nowhere. You know, go a few years back, Andy Ruiz comes out of nowhere, throw a spanner in the works. And this is why the heavyweight division is so interesting, is because not only are these guys good, but they crack. And when they crack, you know, something happens to you.
I agree. So I don't think it's the end of the road for Joe Joyce, but I don't think he's in contention for a title anymore. And if he's not, then what's the point in fighting? If he fights 𝗏𝗏 again, what's the upside for him? I beat somebody I already beat. Cool. So the only upside is in 𝗏𝗏's favor, where, I rectified that loss, you know? And now,
no, I think there is more than that. Obviously, putting the financial side to it, putting the financial gain to the side, him beating 𝗏𝗏 now is good for him. I think it's a good comeback fight for him. I think it, especially, like I said, the amount of praise that 𝗏𝗏 got for the Usyk fight.
Yep.
You know, especially coming off of 2 losses, but 2 stoppage losses. You know, taking on someone like 𝗏𝗏, who's, again, younger than you, who just had one of the biggest fights of his career, you might even come in as the underdog.
He probably will.
Even though you beat him in the first fight. So it's a point to prove to the fans, point to prove to himself. I think it puts him in high rankings, because I'm sure 𝗏𝗏 is high up in the rankings somewhere. Can't remember where, but he's somewhere in the top, definitely in the top 5 of most of them.
Top 5?
Yeah,
𝗏𝗏?
In the rankings. I'm not saying he's the top 5 heavyweight.
No, I know, but I'm saying I would say top
weird.
10, no doubt. But I don't think he places anyone in the top 5
I'm sure he's that in WBO. He's that #1 contender. That's how he got the fight for me.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just,
yeah.
you know, he's somewhere along the top half of the somewhere in the rankings.
Yeah.
Rankings are bullshit anyway, so I don't care about them. I don't think he should retire, but again, you know, I don't see Joyce winning a heavyweight title anytime soon.
So then why bother continuing if you're not fighting for glory and championship? And
I'm saying I don't see him winning it, but he might think he can.
I know he probably thinks he can, but he most likely can't. And so for him to, I don't want to say give up, because that's not obviously how a champion or a fighter should behave. But somebody who's got so few fights on their resume and so much mileage at the same time, because his style was like Homer Simpson's style. If you remember that episode where he just gets punched up until the other guy gasses out and then he just does that and he wins. If that's his tactic, he's got so much mileage on the clock, because he was a walking, talking punching bag. And for that reason, it's probably just caught up. Doesn't matter how thick your bones are, how dense your bones are, 5 times the average. Just take someone who punches 5 times as hard. Do you get me? And I think we found that person at least in ZHILEI ZHANG, let alone Deontay Wilder, let alone AJ, let alone Fury, who probably may not... He probably could easily take him to the canvas as well. He could probably put him on his back as well, because volume, and he's awkward, and he'll just keep breaking him down. And I don't... What's the point? 𝗪𝗏? For what? Do you get me? Who Dubois is the only person who there is any fight worth making for now, unless we go a step down and we go to that guy that lost to Dillian Whyte and AJ. What's his name? The American guy, man.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I've gone blank now.
Yeah. Anyway, him, the guy who arguably should have won the fight against.
Why not Dillian Whyte?
That's a good point.
Why not Dillian Whyte?
Yeah, but that's a good fight.
Yeah.
But then what are they fighting for?
To build themselves back up. We're always going to need heavyweight contenders. There's always going to be people that need to get. There's always going to be people that need to get punched up for the champion.
Yeah,
you know. I'm being serious. Like, it was Jermaine Franklin, by the way.
Thank you.
That's it. You know, we can keep saying like what for, of course, like, you know, but let's put it in terms of football. Really and truly, Burnley are never going to win the Premier League. So why are they in the Premier League?
Okay, so
why are you competing?
Well, because they have to have numbers, innit?
There you go. We need numbers in boxing.
Yes.
It's similar, like, you know.
All right.
Thanks, bro.
No, but I agree and I don't agree.
Like cricket. Zimbabwe are never going to win the World Cup.
Okay, now he's being deep.
I'm being serious.
Are they dead?
Yeah, but like, you know, they're not going to win a World Cup.
Mm.
It's going to basketball, you know. I don't know anything about basketball. I was going to say a random country, but it might be good. But like, you know.
Yeah, I get it.
There's always a chance of rebuilding yourself.
Give that chance to the younger fighters.
Listen,
not 38 years old and
forget the age and that.
You know,
yeah,
108 miles on the clock.
He's probably thinking to himself, "I got so close to a world title shot."
Yep.
And I thought to myself, "Let me take on another challenge," which is nothing wrong with it. There's no harm, and there's no harm done to you for taking that challenge. But at the end of the day, deep down in his soul, in his mind, he's probably thinking to himself, I was this close. I was so close to getting a fight against Tyson Fury or Alexander Usyk for a heavyweight title. And because I thought to myself, maybe I could get another fight in between, it's all gone away.
Mad.
In the space of what, 6, 7, 8 months.
Credit to him for taking those fights.
But why can't I get back again? I'm not saying he's going to win the world title, and I'm not saying that he can beat them.
That's true.
But you never know. He might build himself back up, get to another world title shot, potentially. And when it does happen, maybe in a year or two, who's going to be the champion at the time? We don't know.
It's true. No,
Fury might win, retire, beat Usyk, disappear. Usyk might win, retire, disappear. You know, they've done everything they needed to do. You know, he might get AJ. you know, who's for the belt. We might get an older Wilder, you know, because Wilder's up there as well now. Wilder's almost hitting 40 soon. Wow. You know, he might get 𝗵𝗶𝗵𝗵. Like, I'm just saying that, you know, there's, you know, if he loses his next one and he loses it brutally, then I think you start to really think about, this is it. I think now's the time. But, you know, sometimes there's a guy who's got your number and doesn't mean that you're finished.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I don't think he's finished. I just don't think he's as good as some people may have thought he would be. You know,
I think most of us didn't see it going like this, and most of us thought he was a bit better than maybe he is, or at least, again, styles make fights. And then this is the difference, though. If he was as good as we thought he was, then he would have been able to make adjustments. He couldn't make adjustments. He tried, and it was a feeble attempt, and it was just circling to the left.
Or is it that Zhang is just way too good?
This is what I'm trying to say. So he's not as good as we thought because Zhang was better. In which case, he didn't deserve to be where he was on the rankings because there was a better fighter than him, way below him, who's now been discovered.
Yep.
It's a shame that it took Zhang so long to be discovered because he is 40. Father Time does catch up with everybody. And so, whilst there may be a title for him down the line, how far down this line do we have? How much line is there left? Do you get me? You know, there's a queue of fighters waiting for these belts, to fight for the belts.
Yeah.
And the divisions are kind of being held up. You know, you got Fury fighting Ngannou, which is, again, it makes sense for the money, but then drop those belts. Well, obviously, he's not going to do that. So what happens? He's got the WBC, drop the belt. Then it's long, innit? It's long because, you know, the Big Bang has made a bang statement in the heavyweight division. And I do want to see him fight a little bit more. I don't think many people are going to want that fight. I think Deontay Wilder would like that fight. He wouldn't mind it. I don't think Fury's going to even be interested in that fight because it's dangerous for him, and because it won't be, unless they do it in China, it won't be as big a draw as he
they might
would like it to be. If they did it in China, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
And it would
anywhere in the Far
huge
East.
Fight. Yeah,
anywhere.
It would be a huge fight, but again, Tyson Fury won't. I don't think that he fancies that fight at all. Not that he thinks he could lose. No, that he will lose. He thinks that it's just an unnecessary gamble, and he doesn't want to do what Joyce did and think, yeah, light work, and then it turns out to not be light work.
Maybe I'm getting gassed, yeah. Maybe I'm a bit too excited, but I think Zhang beats everyone except Tyson Fury.
I don't think that's gassed. I think it's a fair thing to say, but again, styles make fights.
Styles
and if you've got
make
somebody
fights.
who can just deal with a southpaw a little bit better than how Joyce did, because Joyce did not know how to deal with it. I know I keep focusing on this one point, but it's a big factor.
Listen, styles make fights, yeah, but I've seen enough of Anthony Joshua and enough of Deontay Wilder in with southpaws and struggle and be hit hard by people who don't hit as hard as Zhang to make me believe that once they get clocked by a big bang, gone. Usyk was rocking AJ around the ring, and Usyk
is a
small heavyweight.
Yeah, he's a softer man.
You put Zhang in there, and Zhang is accurate. He's not going to try and run around the ring. He's not trying to dance. He's going to be standing there in front of you, walking you down. AJ don't want to be on the back foot. Don't like it there. I see Zhang hurting him badly. Deontay Wilder, obviously, he's got the equalizer there because it's one shot and he could put anyone's lights out. But we look at the two Lewis Ortiz fights. Ortiz had him on ropes.
Yep.
And again, you know, I'm not an idiot, and I'm not saying that, you know, Ortiz is the same as Zhang, and these, you know, again, styles make fights. But, you know, they're similar, you know, they're accurate. They're not the fastest, but they hit hard, and they're smart in there. They're intelligent fighters. Yeah. You know, Lewis Ortiz is about 94 years old. He's got experience. Zhang's basically that as well.
Half that.
Yeah. So, you know, if Zhang fought Usyk, obviously I think maybe Usyk would cause him more problems because he's, you know, he's a bit lighter and he could move around and that. But, you know, if he gets hit by him,
if Zhang fights Usyk,
it's a good fight. Two southpaws, but again, a southpaw for southpaw.
Fight,
and you've got two different styles of southpaw.
Proper, very different.
But the IQ in that fight would be amazing. You've got two Olympians, two medalists, and just it would be a great fight. But let's see, innit? Let us know in the comments down below what you want to see. What are the next fights you want to see? Who do you want to see Zhang take on next? What do you want to see from Joyce? Should it be a Dubois rematch? Should he retire? And yeah, give us your top 5 heavyweights at the moment down below.
Whilst you're doing that, remember please to like this video, comment, which you're doing anyway, subscribe to the channel, and put on a little bell for notifications. Make sure you do that, because then when we drop a video, you get notified. Then you have less of an excuse not to watch it.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was the big story coming out of the UK in the boxing scene.
I think there's more news, UK-based news, just not in the UK.
Yeah. So let's go over to Florida then, why don't we?
Florida. What a lovely state. Is it a state?
I think so. Yeah, I believe so.
Lovely state. We
had the return. He's back. Ben is back. We had the return of the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Eggman, Conor Benn.
He's got a very different look now as well. He's really going for the Mexican vato look, or whatever it's called, isn't he? He's going for skinhead, bare-chinned, just eyebrows on his face.
Savagery.
Yeah, I thought he was like
eyebrows and tats.
Yeah,
just
that's it.
He's going for that scary.
And if you saw what he was wearing the day of the press conference, he was dressed like one of them as well, like super baggy shorts and super baggy shirt. And it's a strange look, isn't it? It looked like 𝗬𝗏, like he was wearing a 𝗬𝗏 tracksuit. But you know, that's he's back. He fought, what the guy's first name again? Wait a minute, blood.
You got this.
Fernando. No, 𝗧𝗏𝗏. I've only been calling him Orozco.
Orozco.
Call
him Orozco.
Anyway, Conor Benn went in after an 18-month, roughly, layoff. Comeback fight after, obviously, the whole issue around eggs and chlorophene and clomiphene and drugs cheating and potential bans and him being suicidal and his dad, you know, hitting the bottle. A really dark time in his life. I don't have any qualms with him going to America to fight. I don't have any qualms with him working around his situation. I don't care if the British Boxing Board of Control are not happy with what he's doing. He's a fighter. He needs to fight. And if he's been cleared to fight elsewhere, then do it. You know, I don't know how you feel about that, but I think cleared to fight. Boom, let's go. They know the situation. It's not like they're not aware of what's going on in his life and in his career and what happened only a year ago or so. But there was a big backlash from the UK, you know, boxing scene saying, why is he allowed to do that? He's not being cleared, but he's cleared. He's cleared to fight. No, he's not cleared his name. He's cleared to fight. He's been good to go, like, you know? So let it happen. But he fought that brother.
Orozco.
I think he was 27-3, something like that.
Experienced guy.
Fella, very experienced. In what was supposed to just be a comeback fight, bit of a tune-up, bit of a warm-up, bit of a whatever. 10-rounder? It was meant to be a 10-round. Well, it was a 10-rounder. Again, like I said, it was meant to be a bit of a tune-up, but it ended up being a 10-round war. It wasn't very much. It wasn't like a close fight, unless you looked at the judges' scorecards, where it was like 96, 94, at least one of them. But it was this guy was durable. Like Conor Benn himself said, it looks like he borrowed Canelo's chin for the night. And he just wasn't going down. And Conor Benn was coming at him with everything he had. Again, he said timed, controlled. I don't want to get too excited, but I let go when I wanted to, as in like I let my hands go when I wanted to let them go. He just couldn't get him out. He couldn't get him out of there. But he didn't gas himself out. He didn't throw the fight away. He didn't get too disheartened. He just did what he had to do. It was a decent show. I just think at face value, what was supposed to be an easy-ish fight, just a fight to get him back in there, emphatic win, it wasn't. It was a closer call than many thought, than even he expected it to be. But like he said, he's been at this for a while, and he was thrown into difficult fight after difficult fight after difficult fight. So therefore, he was kind of used to it. But it was a close call.
Yeah.
It was a close call. When you leave it to the judges, you just don't know how it's going to go. Even sometimes it's clear as day how it should have gone, and it goes the other way. If they just didn't like the fact that he was fighting, for example, if the judges didn't like the fact that he was allowed to fight, they could have just given him, given the fight to the other fella, and that would have been jeopardy for the next fight, which was hopefully in December against Chris Eubank Jr. But he won anyway. Conor Benn won. It was a tough fight. He didn't look too mashed up. He looked all right, but it was just a tougher fight than he expected it to be. Those 10 rounds probably helped him because, like he said, I don't believe in ring rust, but 18 months is a long time. I've been in the gym, not been in the ring. That's a very big difference.
I think it's good for him, yeah. You know, if you're going to come back after that long, you know, it's always nice to get that first round knockout or put someone to sleep. But I think, you know, long term, it's more beneficial to get those rounds 100%. And get the minutes in. Doesn't matter what anyone says, you know. Just being in that ring, moving around under the lights with the fans around, whether you're at home or you're away, it doesn't matter. You know, getting those rounds in is beneficial and it's good for you. So, congrats to you, Conor Benn. Bit of a sticky situation, obviously, because it's, you know, is it the right thing to do? 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏. For me, at the end of the day, if I'm getting big fights in boxing, that's all I care about. I know it sounds bad because I don't want to encourage people to cheat, but again, you are, you know, it's a tricky situation because there's so much going on behind the scenes that we don't even know about. Yeah. So, you know, give me Eubank versus Benn. Eubank wants it. You know, he wanted it even if he was on the juice. Yeah. So, you know, if the two fighters consent to it and they sign off, then it's consensual. Yeah. And you know, by all means, you know, the other guy's life's on the line, and if he's happy to put it on the line, as fighters usually do, then who am I to say no? Yeah, so,
I just think it's fake. Not virtue signaling, but again, it's just this fake, like, oh, he should never be allowed to box again. Shut up, man. Just shut up. So many of these guys are on some performance-enhancing drugs. So many of these fighters. So if you get popped, you get popped. I don't even believe that he was actually taking performance enhancers purely because of how he dealt with it, how Eddie dealt with it. I don't think so. I think again the levels in his system were also not a huge amount. But this is a whole different conversation. I'm not trying to say he's innocent or he's guilty. I'm just saying that it is what it is. The situation is as it is. A lot of these fighters are on stuff. A lot of them. So don't pretend, oh, he's a cheat, 𝗧𝗏𝗏, Conor Benn the 𝗧𝗏𝗏, whatever. Bruv, just let these guys fight. We have testing in place. People get caught all the time. A lot of the time it gets brushed under the carpet. A lot of the time it comes out and something gets made about it and then it goes quiet immediately. It depends on who it is, and it's weird how you choose how to react based on a person. We're forgetting that Tyson Fury is in a very similar situation. He's having to fight through an American license because he's not allowed to fight for, well, he wasn't at one point, and now when he does fight in the UK, he's got to get permission for each fight. So we forget that Tyson Fury's in a similar situation. It just depends on how we feel about the person at the time and how the media guides us to how we should react. Do you get me?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's difficult because it's like it's a question of morality, then, isn't it? It's like, you know, it's the sport and it's the bigger picture, and is it the right thing to do? And I get it 100%. Like, you know, you don't want cheats in the sport. No one wants that. But at the end of the day, first and foremost, before my journalism hat comes on or my reporting hat comes on, I'm a fan.
Yeah,
I'm a fan, boy, and I want to see the biggest and baddest and best fights week in, week out. And if that means someone's gonna have 16 eggs over one, or someone's gonna have 16 needles over one, I really don't care. As long as I get the best fight. It sounds bad because I kind of do care, but at the same time, like, you know, like you said, if he's being cleared overseas, deal with it. Just, you know, you can sit there and cry and complain about it, or you can figure out a way to make money for yourself and, you know, try and make the scene better.
Yeah. Because
at the end of the day, Eubank wants to fight, and Eubank is from the UK. the more you question it, the more you make it worse, the more you put, you badmouth Ben, the worse it's going to make the Conor Benn fight. And then you as the UK media are going to be affected by it.
Mm-hmm.
So, suck it up, deal with it, and learn to move on. Let bygones be bygones, as they say in France. C'est la vie.
There we go. Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. I'm not going to say that, I'm a fan, so therefore I don't care who takes what. There's only so much you can do in it. If you get caught, you can present your case. And I believe he kind of has.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm completely against it. You shouldn't be taking performance-enhancing drugs. It's, and if you are guilty and you get caught, you should have severe punishments, regardless.
He hasn't had severe punishment. That's the issue people have.
Of course. But, technically in America, he's fine.
Yeah.
So
I don't have an issue with what he did as a workaround.
Yeah.
Do you get me? It makes sense.
At the end of the day, it's his profession. He's got to make money. He's got to get out there. And, if it was as bad as people made it out, then America wouldn't have let him fight either. His license would have been banned everywhere. Unless he was fighting in Guatemala or something. I don't know.
There's no regulations there.
Guantanamo Bay.
I don't know. Touchy subject.
Somewhere. I don't know. But, you got it. Eddie seems fine with it. Of course he does. I wonder why.
I like Eddie, man. I don't have no issue with the way he does things, man. I think he's a good fella.
When life gives you lemons, what do you make?
Make a salad.
There you go. And that's what they did.
There you go. They
made a salad. And then hopefully...
with eggs in it.
With eggs. They made an egg salad. They made a Russian salad.
Egg salad.
And then you never know. Listen, if we get the Eubank Jr. fight in December...
Let's do it, man.
It's going to be massive. There will definitely still be clouds and questions and, there's definitely going to be some rumblings of what's going on and should it be allowed, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, we're getting history. We're getting sons of legends. Finally getting it on 18 months later, wherever it is, how many months it is. I don't care. I just want to see the best fight the best. I want to see the biggest names going at it. Don't care. Take what you want. Do what you want. Drink what you want. Eat what you want. Sleep whenever you want. Go out whenever you want. Travel to wherever you want. I don't give a toss.
ZHILEI approved.
Just as make sure you're ZHILEI approved.
ZHILEI approved. Guys.
Don't know where that went. I don't know what we were talking about.
We just want to see fights. That's what we're on. I'm not, this is a shambles. This is ridiculous. I don't care about all that. Just fight. This is what pugilism is. This is what combat sports is all about. It's all about fighting the best. The fights that we want to see. You get me?
You just deal with it. Deal with what happens.
Deal with it.
You're grown men in a gladiator sport.
Absolutely.
This is what it is. It's happened. What are we going to do? Sit and cry and complain about it? If he's allowed to fight somewhere, he's allowed to fight somewhere. What are we going to do?
Class.
You going to fly over there and try and stop him? I don't think so.
Guys, girls, ladies, gents, children all over the world. This has been episode number 70 of the Sweet Science Podcast. I've been one of two hosts, Fat Mouse. What else have you had in here?
I've been two of two hosts, Cash with a K and not a C.
We shall see you soon.
Adios.
Bye.
Hi guys, it's Cash with a K, not C. Oh, from the Sweet Science Podcast. I'm moving around on the chair. Just wanted to say thank you for watching the video. If you liked, make sure to comment, like, subscribe. This is the channel. He's the man. We've been the Sweet Science Podcast.